2023 NFL Draft has came and passed. The time is now. We're going to break down who we thought should have gone first overall. I'm going to go first. I really think that the Panthers lost out by not drafting CJ Stroud. I think that they're going to regret by week 12 not having CJ Stroud and Bryce Young dealing with like the toughness, the grit, and the physicality of the league that I don't think he experienced. Yeah, he played at Alabama. Yeah, he played the SEC. But he also was protected well. He wasn't being challenged with schemes that are literally going to be designed to rip his head off. I think CJ Stroud should have been the number one pick, and the Texans fumbled. Who do you think should have been number one?
Now, see, you know me. I don't think it should be a quarterback. My guy, since I saw him in last year, Will Anderson, that's my guy. That's my dude. I said since I watched him last year or 2 years ago in Alabama, I said that's the best player I've ever seen in college football. He's unblockable. My take is he's going to be a Hall of Famer if he stays healthy because I don't understand how you can stop this man. He is a motor that does not quit. And he was coached by Nick Saban, so, you know, the man knows defense.
So what are your thoughts on Bryce Young going number one?
I mean, I like it. I think if he stays healthy, he'll be solid. Like, you watch the man. He didn't really have much talent this year, and he's still put on. Like, yeah. Who I couldn't tell you any Alabama players besides Bryce Young and Jahmyr Gibbs, but I'm also not, like, you know, a big college football watcher.
All right, so let's talk about the three most improved teams this draft. I have three teams that stood out that I really think up their roster and are going to be equipped for a good 2024. Houston Texans, Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals are my three. Who do you got for your three most improved teams of the draft?
Well, you know I'm a Giants fan, and I'm not just being biased here. Everyone has the Giants as the most improved team in the best draft. So they got to be number one because they're number one in my heart, but they also did number one. Then it's got to be the Steelers and the Bills. Like, you just got to love what both of them put on for their quarterbacks.
Let's go in. I want to hear more details. Give me your breakdown on the Giants draft and how they're number one.
Well, there's a very glaring need at cornerback. If you watch Giants football like I do, there's a name, Darnay Holmes, who every single time the man was out there, like, he's good at tackling, he's fantastic on special teams, but when he goes against these bigger corners, he just gets absolutely manhandled. And then, you know, we took a center. Before the draft, we had 0 signed centers. So just getting a top center in the draft already is a huge win. And then we got one of the most explosive playmakers, and that's what we lacked in. So, I mean, overall, it's an A-plus job by Joe Shane. I love him. I think that him and Dable work perfectly together, and they might be the best 1-2 combo in the game right now.
Okay. I like the Baltimore Ravens. If Lamar's going crazy, you know, the contract, does he have an agent? Does it? All of that got tidied up. It's like the Ravens were a shit show last week. Fast forward now, Lamar, biggest deal in the league. They pick up Odell Beckham, who I still think has an amazing upside, and then they grab my boy Zay Flowers. That's my guy. Zay Flowers.
I liked him. I liked him a lot.
Yeah, he's an impact player.
I ask you, man. It's like it's funny. It's like, hey, let's pay Lamar. Then all of a sudden, good things start happening. It's almost like they should have done it earlier.
I listened for weeks on months every day about this Lamar thing. And the plot thickened, and I won't lie, I was thinking that he was going to get clowned to the point where he signed or he franchise tagged and took a terrible deal because they were strongholding him. But when the Jalen Hurts deal dropped, highest paid player in the league, it sort of opened up the door for Lamar. And I think by him lessening his guarantees, that's all the Ravens really wanted. Moving on.
So my third team, and you know, this is just because they're in win now mode. So I love what they do. They go ahead, they jump the Cowboys, which anytime anybody jumps a division rival, I love. And they take Dalton Kincaid right in their face, like absolutely just say, "Hey, Cowboys, y'all want him? Well, sucks to suck because he's our guy now." And then they go off and they finally do something to protect Josh. By taking Osiris Torrance, who's 330 pounds. He's a big boy. And you see Josh Allen gets a lot of pressure up the middle, you know, shoring up that offensive line and finally giving them some time while adding a playmaker. That's huge. When you're paying your quarterback $40+ million, you got to put them in position to succeed, or what are you doing?
I'm going to take the Bengals, Cincinnati. The edge rusher, Miles Murphy out of Clemson. Instant impact player on their D-line. He's huge.
Big dude.
And it's like, dude, they need to be able to cause some problems in the AFC, and that's what I'm realizing. The parity of the AFC versus the NFC for my entire life. The AFC has had elite level quarterback play my entire life. It's not even close. So overall, Cincinnati tightening up their D line, the edge rusher Miles Murphy out of Clemson. That guy's a beast.
DJ Turner,
dude.
baby.
DJ Turner at 60, corner out of Michigan. I mean, he's a physical guy. He ran the fastest 40-yard dash in the combine at the 60th pick. It's crazy to me that the Bengals came up, dude. The Bengals came up really, really well. And on top of that, 95th overall, Jordan Battle out of Alabama, the safety. I mean, dude, they really went all out on their defense. They have the weapons they need on offense. They trust in their quarterback. They have a tough division. They have the hardest conference in football, not even close. I like them tightening up the defense their first 3 rounds.
I kind of like what the Bengals are doing. They're going the opposite way. They're saying, hey, we got enough offensive firepower.
Yes.
We need to get it on the defensive side. Now, I will say, them letting Jesse Bates and Von Bell go, like, you couldn't keep one of them? Are you kidding me? Like, they are one of the cheapest franchises, and I think they're going to regret that.
What are your 3 head scratchers that you've got from the draft?
So, my first one is Green Bay. I like what they did, but I don't really love it. Like, there's so much talent on the board, and you took Lucas Van Ness, which he's supposed to be a high ceiling kind of guy, but he's like every single player on that defensive line. He's 6'5", 270 pounds. Like, why wouldn't you go for something a little different, like a Nolan Smith who ran a 4.38, which is faster than Saquon Barkley? Like, you're telling me this guy's on the board, and you just go for the big boy? Like, I don't know. It's a little confusing. They draft Luke Musgraves, who's supposed to be a high ceiling guy. He didn't have a lot of production. He got hurt, which is a good move. And then they take Jaden Reed, but then they come back and they take another tight end in Tucker Kraft. Like, what are y'all doing? Like, you're just trying to overload the tight end position? Like, that's a position they say is 2 to 3 years to really start blossoming. So are they really building that far in the future? That is just a little confusing. All right, the next one is the Dolphins. Now, I do like their picks. I like Cam Smith and I like A-Chain, but what are you doing not protecting Tua? Like, you didn't take an offensive lineman until the 7th round and you took a tackle. The guy had 2 concussions within a week. Like, your problem isn't your offense. You don't need another running back. You could sign someone off the street. Like, let's, try and build a line here and build for the future. That, to me, was a little odd. I do got one more, and this is a personal one. This is, the Redskins. Now, a lot of it has to do with my buddy being a Redskins fan, and we love talking smack to each other, so, I'm kind of putting them up there. But also, they drafted a 166-pound corner in our division, the NFC Beast. You're drafting a 160-pound corner. A.J. Brown is going to take that dude and slam him. What do you think CeeDee Lamb's going to do to him? Darren Waller's he's going to be like, too small, my guy.
Do you have any trade winners?
I think the Cardinals and the Texans were clear winners. You don't get a talent like Will Anderson every day. I think having the ability to go up and get him, and really when you're DeMeco Ryan, really get some talent on your roster that's so void of it. It's crazy to me to say, they gave up too much for him.
Yeah.
And then also the Cardinals, they have probably the worst roster in the NFL, top to bottom. And next year they have an accumulation of picks, and they're probably going to be picking high because Kyler Murray ain't starting the season.
Yeah, and on top of that, they have the worst ranked facilities voted on by players. So they have the worst roster that decided that they had the worst facility. I wonder if there's any correlation. My biggest trade winner personally, this is a personal take. It has nothing to do with the actual facts. But I do take Seattle because I live in Denver, and watching the Russell Wilson experiment has been dreadful, to say the least. To watch Seattle steal our 5th pick that we could have used to potentially trade up to get a CJ Stroud, a big-time move, and I would have settled with the corner out of Illinois. I mean, it's crazy. They fleeced us, and then I believe that they also got our 2nd round as well. So yeah, my biggest trade winner is Seattle. I know it's a previous trade, but I'll still apply it because it's a draft day trade. All right, let's talk about the honorable mentions this year in the draft. Give me some honorable mentions that you didn't put in your top 3 most improved teams, but that deserve a shout out.
I think that the Lions reached for a lot of players, but they had a lot of picks and they accumulated a lot of talent. They got Jahmyr Gibbs and Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell is the perfect Dan Campbell kind of guy. Like, He's a big boy and he loves to hit. And they finally replaced the tight end with Sam Laporta, who they say is extremely talented. And then they end the second round with Brian Branch, who people are saying could be like a Minka Fitzpatrick. Like, come on, that's just an accumulation of talent. And then in the third round, they go and they get Hendon Hooker. Like, they got a guy that they can sit there for 2 to 3 years, not have to worry about him playing, and then potentially take over for Goff. That's just unbelievable.
I got to give a shout out to the Eagles. The Eagles, the fact that they had a shot to win the Super Bowl last year and that they obtained Jalen Carter in the draft. You know, Jalen Carter had his incidents off the field added up against him, and we watched him fall. But yeah, I do think that the Eagles tightening up their roster, Khalid Ringo late in the fourth.
I gotta ask you, what do you think about taking Keely Ringo, who isn't good at playing with his back to the ball but ran a 4.3 at the combine, and then converting him to a safety to where he's playing in front of the ball to give him the ability to use his speed to react?
In my opinion, it's a good pick. I like the Eagles because they have a lot of speed. When I remember them last year, it was a lot of speed plays, offensively, defensively. So let's go ahead and wrap this up with the fantasy impact.
I mean, I think some of the winners has to be Jordan Addison. He's going to play along Justin Jefferson and be that number 2. Dalton Kincaid. How could you not go after these guys? Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson are clearly going to be first round picks because they're just so talented. They're going to see 80+% of the snaps. I think that Cedric Tillman to the Browns, he could really be that number 2 for them. And honestly, he could be the guy that is opposite of Cooper. And if Deshaun Watson is 80% of what he used to be, because he was not that last year, that could be a fantastic team.
All right. Well, you got anything else you want to add?
I think what the Cardinals did was fantastic. They got Paris Johnson, who's supposed to be the best tackle. And if you see the video of him with his footwork, he looks like a ballerina out there. The man is unbelievable with his feet. And then gets B.J. Ojolari in the second. And then they go ahead and they get some wide receivers, some corners, some guards. They're really trying to shore up this team. But what I really like is that next year they have 2 1s, 2 2s, 2 3s to start off. And then my other one is Seattle. How could you not like what they did? They went ahead and they got Jackson Smith-Njigba and Devon Witherspoon, who's supposed to be the best corner and the best wide receiver in this draft. Now, they made some moves that are a little confusing, like Derek Hall, but apparently that's kind of the guy that Pete Carroll likes. So if he fits the scheme, he fits the scheme. And then Zach Charbonnet, who's a big boy that's running through those lines. He's 214 pounds. You pairing him with Kenneth Walker, that's a 1-2 combo that's scary. With Geno spinning it, that's a scary team.
All right, guys, so that is going to wrap up today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Leave a comment below. Let us know what you want to see next. We're going to be dropping some more videos here soon. Stay tuned. Appreciate the love. Have a great day.